Hello everyone, in today's video I want to show you how we can essentially set up webhooks for free in WPForms. As you know, in the free version of WPForms I've only got access to sending our form data through emails, and we don't have access to any of the cool features like setting up integrations or webhooks. So I want to show you how we can do it for free through the email field using make.com. So what I've got here is a website that I'm setting up, and I've got a form entry, and I want to be able to pass this data into make.com so I can put that data into a CRM or maybe a newsletter. So to do this, let me jump into the form settings. So here's the form settings of WPForms, and this front form for me is called the magic form. So if I jump into edit and I come into settings and notifications, you'll notice that this is the only thing I've got access to. This is a little spoiler of what we're going to be setting up. So what we have here is we're able to send email addresses on the form submission, and I want to show you how we can capture that in make.com. So the first thing I'm going to do is jump into make.com, and you can set this up with other software, integration software as well. And if I come into webhooks, there's this little module called custom mail hooks. And what you want to do when you're here is click the add button, and I'm just going to say WordPress form test, give it a name that I can remember. And what you'll notice is I get this email address here, and essentially whenever we send an email to this email address that's been set up as our mail hook, all the data is going to be captured from that email. So I'm going to copy this. So you come back into the WPForms, and I throw in this email address here. And I like to give a email subject line, and I'll show you why. And I just keep the one I have. You can keep this all the same. And in the email message, what we want to do is we want to format our data in a JSON format so that we can take individual values in make.com and use them throughout our flow. So the way we do this is we're going to start with two curly brackets, and I'm going to name this user email. And essentially this is what the variable is going to be called in make.com. And in the next brackets, we want to give the user email a value. And what that value is going to be is our email. And as you can see, if you come into the smart tags, the field that I've set up as email, we can select that. And the little secret I like to do here, which I'll show you why in a moment, is to throw in this split. So if I save this and I save this here, I hit run once, and I just throw in a test email. As you can see, we're going to be trying to capture that email that's going to be set up from this notification. And looking what's come through is we've got in the subject line and the text and a bunch of other data. And as you can see here, it sort of appends the email with this line here, and that's where the split comes in. So what we want to do from here is just set a variable, and the variable name can be, let's just call it JSON, and the data we want to throw in is our text. And another little thing I like to do here is, just so I only receive web forms that I know I've sent, is I like to take this subject line, and if I set up a filter, the condition is going to be the subject line has to equal what I've hard set, or else don't run this, because if something else gets sent through to this email address and it doesn't follow that subject line you've hard set, and it can be a secret key, although it's not the most secure way to secure your webhooks, at least you know it will be ignored and won't error out your flow. And coming back into here, what we actually want to do, we want to use the split module, and we want to split the text by the split, the word split that we've added in. Hope that makes sense. And I'm going to run this once again just to test it. And let's run this again. Wait for the mail hook or webhook to capture it. And as you can see, we have been able to split our JSON object and the sent from systemizing. Now, the next module we want to add in this step is we want to pass this data to a JSON format. You don't got to choose a data structure, and what we want is this has been passed to an array. So the easiest way we can get the data is we just want to get this array, and if we look in here in this array, we just want the first value. So we're going to select the first value, hit OK on that, and let's run this again. We just ignore the errors in testing. I'm going to refresh this again. Throw back in the email, and once it does its security checks, I don't have to wait that long like it said I had to. And as you can see, this filter is filtering, and what we should see on the output of here is that now we can use this variable in our flow that has the user email. So if I come to, say, MailChimp, and I want to add a subscriber to my list, I just throw in systemizing, and on here, as you can see, we can now use this variable. What you want to do is hit OK, and as long as you save it and tick it, that's going to work. But we're going to go a little deeper, and I want to show you how we can do this with a form that has multiple values. So scrolling down this website, there's this other form that's asking for a name, an email, and a website. So we're going to do it in a similar way, and I'm just going to hijack what we've already got set up here, and I'm going to delete that so it doesn't action in the testing. And I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to make sure I delete this after the video so no one sends emails to it. And I exit out of here. And I come to the lead magnet form, just got to remember the names. And as you can see, we've got 3 fields to work with now. So if we come into settings and into notifications, it's very similar. Enable the notifications. We're going to be sending to this mail hook address that I just took from here. And I'll come back to the right page. And I'll call this new form entry. If I was to name this something else, or email was to come in that didn't include this subject line, it won't filter. So that's always good. And in the email message, so the body, we want to do the same. But this time we've got 3 fields to set up. So I'm going to go username. And let's put in the name. And I like to backspace these spaces. This time we throw a little comma. Going to put our 2 quotation marks. And we're going to call this one user email. And I'm just using camel case here. You don't need to follow this format to name your variables. In this one, we're going to be taking the email, backspace these, I'll put a comma. And the reason I'm doing this all on one line is you notice sometimes when you pass through email body text, it will include /ns for line breaks, and it can be quite annoying to get rid of. So I like to put in a single line and just avoid that problem altogether. And the last field we're putting in is user website. And we'll come here, we'll throw in user website. It didn't go in my quotations at all, that's okay, quickly fix it up. And on the last object in here, we do not need to throw on a bracket. I'm just going to quickly scan through, make sure I've got this all set up right. It looks pretty good. We won't know until we get thrown errors. It's very easy to miss things. And of course, I'm going to throw in that split to make splitting this from any text put in at the bottom very easy. And I'm just going to save this. And that should all work automatically. I'm going to hit run anyway. If I come in here, I'll throw in a name, go test@gmail.com. Let's throw in my website. I just hit submit data. We'll see if this works first try. If we come to this output, as you can see, for free, on the free version of WPForms, I'm able to pass data through a webhook, although it is officially called a mail hook. And I can use this data in make.com. You can set this up in Zapier or some other platform you use. The modules will just be slightly different names. And that's all there is to it. Thanks.